This is obviously a huge part of the season. There's so many tournaments coming up. Obviously, the World Open next week, then the Tour Championship, which you're pretty much guaranteed in, and then Sheffield. How much practice do you keep doing now? Because obviously, you want to keep yourself fresh, don't you? You don't want to practice too much.
Absolutely. I've won a load of matches this year and gone deep in a lot of tournaments. I haven't obviously picked up a trophy yet, but at this time it was important to keep fresh. I mean, I haven't played since I got back from Saudi. I'm going to get back on it as soon as I finish this podcast for this week, because I travel on Friday. But yeah, Stephen, you know yourself, you can't turn up at the World. I mean, everyone says, "Oh, burnout," what you on about? But there is absolutely burnout, and I chose not to play in the Championship League the week before Saudi, because I just had a really good run in the Players' Champ. I lost to Mark Allen in the semis, played some really good stuff there. And I thought, I don't want to play in the Championship League, play all those matches and end up playing myself out of form. If you know what I mean. If I was searching for form, like John Higgins, he had a great run in the Championship League, and because you probably feel like he's searching for a bit of form or trying to find a secret at the minute, where he is this season, it was really important for him to play in it, and I think he started like coming back to somewhere near his best again now, or showing signs of it. But for me, I think, like Stephen said, it's just important to keep fresh now.
Yeah, I mean, you've obviously, we were going to come on to this anyway. You've had a cracking season, and over the past couple of years, you've had 3 or 4 finals, and you've been playing a long time. But it feels like is there anything that you've changed in your approach? Is it to do with how you look after yourself mentally, or maybe there is no secret, but
I think my temperament's always, as much as it's been an asset of mine, it's almost it's also been a helper and a hinderer. So I've been really working on that. Obviously, I work with Chris Henry. I've got a great team behind the scenes, and it's really keeping me in a good place. And I think when you get to my stage of my career, that if you get back in the top 16, the opportunities that presents and the constant you're playing every week, you're playing against top class opposition, and it makes you feel like a top player again. When you're, ranked down the rankings, and you're playing, you're not in the Grand Prix, the Players' Champ, the Tours Champ, the Masters. The list the Champion of Champs. The list goes on, and it's very hard to keep turning up and playing week on week, going to Barnsley, going to Leicester, going to all these places where, frankly, don't inspire you to play. That's just being honest. At my stage, if I just turned pro when I was 18, fair enough, but I'm not. I'm 45 nearly. So that's where I'm at the minute.
Our listeners in Barnsley might be sorry to hear it, but not every venue is equally inspiring.
I'm not saying there's anything wrong with a venue. I'm just
but absolutely, you're right. Of course, you can't be mentally as driven for every tournament.
Of course.
So it's about momentum, I suppose, is what you're saying. The more you're up in that top, the more you. But is there psychologically, are you conscious that you're doing stuff differently now, like managing your temperament differently?
I am managing myself, and I'm constantly trying to be positive and tell myself positive things all the time. When I played in the Masters back in January, I really believed I was going to win that event. And I was telling myself, rather than tell yourself, "Oh, you're gonna lose, or someone's gonna beat you, or whatever." I just thought, why not just tell myself I'm going to win it? And I played really great stuff all week, and it was that reminded me that I am a top player, because to play well in that atmosphere, in that environment, you have to have a certain something about you to be able to do that. And I know I didn't win it, but we had a really good game in the final. I'd made the most centuries I've ever made, and there's ever been made there. And if I can take that form into the Crucible with that attitude, then I think it's the sort of game that I've got. I could be dangerous, and I believe whether I win the World Championships or not doesn't matter. Doesn't make any difference. I believe this year, probably for the first time, I can win it. I'm not saying that in a big-headed way. I'm just telling you how I feel.
How long do you reckon your career is going to be? How have you? Yeah. I mean, you look at likes of Ronnie, John, Mark playing at 48. Do you think you'll be playing as long into your 50s?
I do. I honestly believe that I'm better now than I've ever been. I'm playing the best that I've ever played. I'm making more centuries. I'm getting down the business end in more tournaments. I'm back in the top 8 after all these years, because I've applied myself more, being more professional about my practice, about looking after myself, about my attitude, everything. So, I'm aiming to, I'm 50. I mean, I'm 45 in July. So, if I can, I'm guaranteed the top 16 for the next 2 or 3 years minimum, because obviously the points I've built up. So who knows? I think I can go for as long as I want to, Stephen, to be honest.
That's great. So you say the time is running out in one sense, but in another sense, you're getting stronger the longer you go on.
I mean, when you've been a pro since 1996, 97, so 28 years, if I've got 5 years left, the main part of my career is behind me. I know I'm, in one sense, I'm not coming to an end because I'm in the top 8, but, how long can you, like we discussed just before we came on air, like the practice, I really, really don't want to go in there and do it. But I know if I turn up in China and not prepared, then the old Ali Carter comes out, and that's not good.
We keep hearing a lot about the old Ali Carter. He doesn't sound like a bloke you want to meet.
No.
I was going to say, is there a part of anyone else's game that you're jealous of that you'd like to have? I ask it in relation to what do you think you need to do to get to that level of winning the biggest of it, the Triple Crown events? Is there something that you think you need to add to your game?
I think I need to keep working. No, I think I can score as well as anyone when I'm prepared.
We did that at Masters,
when I'm prepared, when my attitude's right. I think it's just more continuing to work on my attitude, continuing to work on, obviously scoring's a massive part of it. You cannot win the World Championship if you don't score. Simple as that. Winning frames easy in one visit. And I can do that, and I do that. And that's what I keep telling myself. And obviously we'd all like to break build like Ronnie. Of course we would. But there's more than one way to go about this game. And he, as good as Ronnie O'Sullivan is, he doesn't win every tournament. He pretty much does at the minute the ones he enters. But there is room for other players to win. And
obviously, luck plays a part sometimes as well, doesn't it? Especially over long frame matches, a little bit of luck here and there helps, doesn't it?
Of course it does. It's massive. And you do need luck at the right times at the Crucible, at end of sessions, the last frame in sessions, you can nick a frame and be 5-3 up instead of 4-all, to take that momentum into the evening, 9-7 instead of 8-all, or 10-6 instead of 9-7. It's all the different scenarios that can happen. And you've got to be prepared for those mentally.
That's interesting. The commentators often talk about the importance of winning the last frame before, in a session, but I haven't really heard that from a player before. But it must be a big difference between going level and 2 frames up.
Damage limitation can mean so much. Damage limitation. I mean, even if you're behind, the difference between being 5-3 behind instead of 6-2 behind. What a difference!
Yes. It is. It's massive, and it's like what you said, Steve. Damage limitation. When you don't have a good session, it's not losing the session 7-1, 6-2. It's getting out 4-all or 5-3. Because then you live to fight another day. I like when I've won tournaments, I've seemed to have got better all the way through. I like playing not so well in the early rounds, because then I know giving myself the best chance to play better and play well in the semis, the final. And generally I do that.